to take care of this. We actually confirmed him last year for an unexpired term. And so this confirmation that's before you is just for a regular term that will be effective immediately and ending June 30, 2025. And this appointment is for the Commercial Transportation Enforcement Division Appeals Board. And I believe we all have the information from here, and I didn't see any changes from last year. And so at this time, I would be glad to open up to any committee members that have questions for Mr. Van Deventer. Anybody have questions? Do I have a motion? All in favor? Any opposed? All right, that nomination will be reported. Mr. Van Deventer, we appreciate you taking the time to get on just in case there were questions.
Thank you very much.
So
I look forward to continuing to serve. Thank you. Have a great day.
Thank you. All right, we'll move to the Memorial Highway bills. And these are the bill numbers 2028, 2074, 2075, 2481, 2482. I'm sorry, I'm actually going to set aside 2482. We'll move to 2520. So what I'd like to do is take these up in block. Is there any opposition to us taking up the Memorial Highway bills in block? So I'll just explain each one of these. Now, I will tell you that our policy is that we do have resolutions from the locals. Anytime we do have a Memorial Highway bill, those are that are being brought up, either the resolutions are here or I have enough confidence in the people I've spoken to that they're on their way. We will not be taking these up off the calendar on the floor until I know the resolution is in hand and I've seen it, everything is good there. So just letting you know sort of the way I've been working on the Memorial Highway bills. All right, 2028, Senate Bill 2028. This is a bridge on Highway 178, Zach Stewart Bridge. I believe this is Senator Chisholm's district. And then we move to Senate Bill 2074, I-22. I believe this is Senator McMahon, the Korean War Veterans Highway and the Vietnam Veterans Highway there in his district. And Senate Bill 2075 in Lee County also. They're requesting that there's an intersection there they would like to name after Sheriff Presley there in Lee County. Senate Bill 2481 is Highway 488 in Lee County to be named the Austin Morrow Highway. And then Senate Bill 2520, which is Prentiss County, Senator John White Memorial Highway. Any questions on any of the Memorial Highway bills? All right, do I have a motion? Yes, thank you. And again, to clarify, we set aside Senate Bill 2482. That one was not included. That's from my district. That's because I don't think the resolution is on its way. So that's the position I'm taking on that one. All right, we will move to Senate Bill 2483, recreational off-highway vehicles. All right, the purpose of this bill, there are certain Mississippi dealers that want to be able to sell new recreational vehicles, which basically have increased in size. I apologize. Excuse me. I think I thought I did. All in favor of the bills that we just handled in block on Memorial Highways? All in favor? Are there any opposed? Thank you. I appreciate that. I wondered why I got a couple of strange looks. Now we will move to the next one, which will be Senate Bill 2483. This bill is an act to amend Section 6331(3), which will increase the size of certain ATV vehicles. It really only affects public property there. If you'll look on lines 42, and then again 53 and 55, those are the changes. It increases the size from 65 inches to 75 inches on the off-highway vehicle, and on the ATV from 50 to 55 inches. And again, this only applies to those vehicles that run on public property. Certainly, we realize it wouldn't matter if someone was going to buy one of these vehicles to use on private property, no issues there. Any questions on this bill? All right, do I have a motion? All in favor? Any opposed? All right, that one will be reported. We will move to Senate Bill 2508. This is Senator Harkin's bill. I do not see him. So I'm going to sort of take a stab at this, and Mr. Miller is here to sort of pick up the pieces where I may not have all the technical details. Senator Harkins has this, and I believe he will actually be handling this bill on the floor. The purpose of this bill is to allow for personal delivery devices in pedestrian areas. And I don't know how many of you are familiar with these devices. I refer to them as the delivery robots. I think Ole Miss uses these devices. And so this legislation will allow these devices to be used in pedestrian areas. Now, there is opt-out language. You will look like beginning on line 28 of the bill. The locals may opt out if for some reason they do not feel this is in their best interest to have these devices available to them. That's the language right there. Section 1 of the bill basically lays out the regulations that are to be put forward. It talks about the size. It talks about how these personal delivery devices will yield to traffic, will yield to pedestrians, and the technology is really mind-blowing. It's hard to understand how these devices can operate in such a manner, but the technology is out there. I looked at a couple of videos just to get my mind around how this works. I think it's phenomenal. Section 2 is basically all the conforming language that would be required under our state statutes to make this happen. It includes personal delivery devices in jurisdiction of cities and counties, and that's it amends section 2137.3 in order to define that. The rest of the code sections that are brought forward really talks about the motor vehicle statutes. We want to be clear that these devices are not considered motor vehicles under our law. All right, are there any questions? Yes, ma'am. Is there speed? Yes, ma'am. So the speed, I believe it's up to 10 miles an hour, and that is on line 22 of the bill.
With the local government, they can opt out at any time.
They can, yes, ma'am.
And once they opt out, can they opt back in?
You know, I don't see specific language. Mr. Miller is telling me they can't. Would you mind rising and giving us a little information on that? Thank you.
states that, began the pilot project, how long were their pilots before?
They're continuing to do it. They're calling it pilot as long as it works. It's working. I'm only speaking as to Amazon. I know that Federal Express is using its central business districts and other areas. They're being used to they've been authorized.
And so how many states have authorized?
I know of at least 7.
Thank you.
Thank you. I believe Senator Horn had a question.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Miller, can you tell us how the devices are going to be monitored? How do they get stopped? If there's a sidewalk intersection, how is all of that handled in terms of the maneuvering of the device?
There's a definition there for personal delivery device operator. So that driver that brings his vehicle into the subdivision, that person is in charge of issuing their rides. All technology, so is does no ride. That person will know about it. I know in fact, vehicles that are Starship that operate on the campus of the University of Mississippi. Those happen to go over the curb. They actually speak to people all the time. So there is an operator behind involved.
And so a driver shows up in a neighborhood, got 10 pizzas they want to deliver. They deploy the device, it's put on sidewalks, not on the streets, but on the sidewalks. And it makes that last mile delivery at that point.
It may cross the road. The yields come within a reasonable.
And if the University of Mississippi is already doing this, why do we need this?
So the University of Mississippi is different than your campus.
So this would put it on public sidewalks. This does not involve any sort of aerial delivery. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Senator Williams, you recognize.
A clarification, we know of 7 states that have this codified at this point, is that correct? Okay. Is there, obviously I'd say we're probably in the infancy of this technology and the deliverability of it, so I guess my question to this floor is there a limitation on what we can deliver? Where I'm trying to drill with that is delivery of illegal things.
Well, for instance, the hazardous material is, we're talking about things that it is an illegal substance.
We know
It's
what,
already prohibited
yes,
because we're talking about.
right.
So certainly that is there. Hazardous materials are in this law. Perhaps, yes, right, we have this law,
Right.
they won't do it in these places. Okay. So for instance, you're asking how good it is. Tennessee passes law. Okay. That's the one I had.
Okay, and this is modeled somewhat after other states' legislation.
Yes.
We have those characteristics.
There is a standard. It's different in this state. You cannot amend by reference. That's why you have all these sections.
Right.
In Tennessee, they just refer to a section without all the materials.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. And just for the benefit of the committee, I should have already told you this. I'd like to draw your attention to line 450 in the bill. There's some definitions there that may help further answer a few questions about what we're talking and answer. You were turning there. I'll recognize Senator McClendon for a question.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Mr. Miller, will alcohol be able to be delivered with this tank? Why is that?
This is the
questions? All right, do we have a motion? All in favor? Any opposed? All right, that bill will be reported. We have one final bill here, Senate Bill 2507. And this also is Senator Harkin's bill. It's double referred. It'll go from here over to finance. The purpose of this bill is to amend section 6518 to provide that any repayments to a public entity that advance funds to the Mississippi Transportation Commission not include interest on that money. And so if you look on line 278, the words public or is inserted. So it will now read payments to a public or private entity that advances funds to the Transportation Commission shall not include interest. In other words, in instances where the locals maybe advance funds on transportation projects and NDOT later reimburses them, the point is to make sure that the Transportation Commission is not paying interest on those funds that were advanced by other entities. And I understand that this was in code many years ago and at some point was removed. I'm not sure all the history behind that, but Chairman Harkins felt it was very important that we correct that and include these words in the statute. And so that's what he's asked us to consider. And I'll be happy to try to answer any questions. Yes, sir.
As an example, of slow country.
Well, the way I understand it is in transportation projects where you have a local, like a county, that's maybe advancing funds for a road to be constructed, and NDOT is expecting funds to be made available and reimburse that local at a later date because the county had put forth funds. What we're trying to say is to clarify that there's no interest that would be owed to the county in that instance. Other questions?
So previously, a private entity would have to pay the interest.
It's already current law that private entities don't pay the interest.
They don't pay. interest.
Correct.
Okay, so
Correct.
it's making it consistent.
That's
public. Now, with public entities paying,
Well, that's the question, is maybe in times past, there was a question whether they should. And so Chairman Harkins thought it would be wise for us to put these words to clarify in statute that it's not our intention that public or private entities pay interest, or that the commission would owe them interest. Yes,
Is there any pending litigation that this would involve that you're aware of?
not that I'm aware of. All right, other questions? Do I have a motion? All in favor? Any opposed? That bill will be reported. Thank you. Rise and report.
They deliver medical.
Can I have your attention? If you will please return to me the peer reports that has the confidential information. Thank you.
Hey, can we do, we didn't do Brad White. Chair, we're gonna do Brad White. Yeah. The reason why we have to have bills like that is because you got cities like Brandon that are always trying to like one up, asking for interest, thinking they're owed more just because they got privileges. I think it's Brandon. Right? We all know that. Come on. Let's go, Brandon. I mean, that's their logo.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I know.